Hello, good morning everybody, and welcome to day two of Reprieve Media CIC's double handful coverage of the Cheltenham Festival. Well, what a fantastic day's racing we had yesterday. The analysis we gave, I thought was really good. So hopefully we will have more of that today. The format's going to be a bit different today. As you know, yesterday our co-host Steve Allpress actually was at Cheltenham yesterday. He had trouble getting back last night through the roadwork, so we've not really had time to do an in-depth preview like we did on the first day. Hopefully, though, on the line now, I should have Steve Allpress quickly. There's not going to be much discussion today. He's just going to give his selections for the 7 races, and then I'm going to give my views on the 7 races. And then we're going to call it a day and try and get it out as soon as possible. So, without further ado, Steve, are you there, mate?
Yeah, I'm here, Paul. I'm here.
Superb. Good to see the technology working in our favour at such a crucial time. Steve, welcome. And may I just say thank you very much for taking the time to share your selections with us today. It's a shame that we couldn't do more of an in-depth preview. I thought our Mondays went really well. But hopefully we'll get back on track later on in the week. But in the meantime, Steve, I'll hand the floor over to you. You just want to go through the card at your own pace. Tell us what you fancy. Tell us your views on all today's racing. And then at the end, I'll just nip in and give my selections as well. Thank you, sir.
Apologies for not coming back yesterday evening. The traffic on the road was horrendous. There were diversions all over the place. It was a late one, but I'm looking forward to day 2. Obviously, yesterday was a cracking day. The atmosphere was tremendous. Big crowds as usual. The weather was nice. Obviously, the ground was on the testing side, which was a bit of a disappointment, but it is what it is. You get on with it, and hopefully we'll have another cracking 3 days of racing. My selections for today, a couple of confident ones. I'll go through them one by one. We'll start with the first race, the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. That is the 1:30. My selection is the highly regarded Sam Crow from the Gordon Elliott stable. This horse has been held in high regard for a long time now. He's coming over from Ireland with a big reputation. He's done nothing wrong up to now. He's put in several dominant performances over hurdles, both over 2 miles and 2 mile 4. Obviously, today's distance is 2.5 miles, which should be right up his street. It's a competitive renewal with a Willie Mullins horse in there called Next Destination, a Tom George highly regarded horse called Black Hop. So it looks to be a tough renewal, but a confident selection for me is Sam Crow. He's done nothing wrong. He's been on my shortlist now for a number of months. I've been involved financially with this horse in terms of an anti-post bet for a good few months now. There was a lot of talk whether he might bypass this Ballymore hurdle for the Supreme Novices, which was obviously run yesterday. However, they opted to go this route. They think the extra few furlongs will benefit him. And for me, he will take all the beating. I'm very confident he'll win the race. I think he's a chaser of the future. The ground shouldn't be an issue. He has won on decent ground, but he has also won on testing ground, which he's likely to get today. So yeah, for me, Sam Crow, I think the world of him. I'll be very disappointed if he gets beat. There's a lot of hype surrounding him. He's probably the talking horse of the festival, as far as the novices go anyway. And as I said, I'll be very disappointed if he gets beat. The opposition, there's several top class horses in their own right in the race, but for me, Sam Crow's just that level above them. And I'm going to select Sam Crow, a confident selection, and hopefully he'll do himself justice. That's my selection for the Ballymore Novices Hurdle in the 1:30. Race 2 on day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival is the RSA Chase, a Grade 1 over 3 miles. 2 Irish Raiders head the market, Presenting Percy and Monolith. English trained Black Horton is prominent in the betting also. My selection for the race is Monolith. He was a decent novice hurdler. He ran a creditable second in the Albert Bartlett novices hurdle last season at the festival. He won his debut over fences this season in good fashion. He then lined up in his next outing and took a crashing fall. Since then, he's come back at the Dublin Festival in a competitive renewal, and he won a competitive race with decent horses in behind, with one of which is also a runner in today's race called Album Photo. Monolith is held in high regard from Henry de Bromhead, his trainer, and I think the 3 mile trip will be right up his street. Presenting Percy is a solid yardstick in his own right, and he's probably the horse that's most likely to put it up to him. I think this is a race that will be dominated by the Irish. I don't think the English have a strong hand in this race. Therefore, I do think the Irish will be filling minor money places as well. It's more of a hopeful than confident selection, but my selection would be Monolith just over Presenting Percy. That's my selection race on day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival, the RSA Chase. The third race on day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival is the Coral Cup Handicap Hurdle. This is arguably one of the most competitive races of the festival. It's one of those races you could put a pin in, or you could back 3 or 4 and you still could not pick the winner. It's a tough race. My selections for the Coral Cup are 2 each way selections. Mount News is my first selection. Mount News is from the Ruth Jefferson stable with Brian Hughes on board. He's been campaigned over fences recently, but he comes back to hurdles for today's renewal. He's pretty well handicapped on his hurdle form, and hopefully he'll run a decent race. My second selection is the Alan Fleming trained As You Were with Dennis O'Regan on board. The horse has decent form on soft ground in Ireland and a tentative selection, but he's another one that I don't think's without a chance. I'm not overly confident on the Coral Cup, therefore there are just 2 tentative selections. We're more hopeful than confident. But those are my selections for the Coral Cup on day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival. Race 4 on day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival is the Queen Mother Champion Chase, a Grade 1 event over 2 miles. For me, this is the most highly anticipated race of the Cheltenham Festival. We have 2 superstars lining up. Altior is obviously the warm favourite for the Queen Mother Champion Chase, the 11 to 10 favourite. Altior, he started campaign over hurdles 2 seasons ago. He won the Supreme Novices Hurdle, beating another one of today's runners, Min, in a highly hot race with Bouvardere back in third that day. Altior then switched to fences last season, campaigned at the 2 mile novice route, and he had an unblemished record. Very impressive throughout the whole year. He went to Cheltenham, he won the Arkle Trophy. He then backed up at Sandown at the end of the season out of novice company, where he beat Special Tiara, who's also lining up in today's race. Altior has had a well-documented wind problem over the winter, which now appears to have been sorted by connections. He had his comeback run at Newbury in the Game Spirit a few weeks ago, where he made more than a satisfactory reappearance. He beat the Tingle Creek winner Politolog in good style, and he looked to be right back to his best. Connections are adamant he's going to improve for that run, and if he does improve for that run, he's going to take a hell of a lot of beating in today's renewal. He's top class horse. He's very highly rated. Obviously, the stable hold him in the highest regard. Even comparisons with the great sprinter Sacra have come out in recent months. So that just shows you the calibre they hold this horse in. Altior for me is the horse to beat in this Queen Mother Champion Chase. However, we do have the massively highly regarded Duvan from Ireland, the horse that had the world at his feet a couple of seasons ago. He racked up a number of consecutive victories. However, he then went to the Queen Mother Champion Chase last year, and he ran very disappointingly down the field. And it was later reported that he had a leg problem, which would put him out for the remainder of that season. And he's only just recently been back pleasing connections, and they've come out recently and said his work's been good enough, pleasing enough, therefore they're going to take their chance and run him first time out in this year's renewal. It's very difficult for a horse to come to Cheltenham in any race without having a prep run, alone a grade 1. So for me, Duvan's got a lot on his plate today. However, he's such a highly rated horse. He's got tremendous talent, huge amount of ability. And if any horse can come back and win a grade 1 and beat the mighty Altior, I wouldn't put it past Willie Mullins doing it with Duvan. However, for me, the task is too much, and I do favour Altior in this. If you'd asked me which way I would have went, if Duvan had a clear preparation for the race, I probably wouldn't know. I'd probably be sitting on the fence, because I think these are two massively high ability horses, two of the best horses we've seen in recent years. And it's just unfortunate both horses haven't come into a race with a good preparation. It's been a bit stop-start with both horses this season, and that could be the only disappointment going into the race, that when horses at 100%. However, out of the two, Altior is the one that's had the better preparation. Another horse in the race that I wouldn't say is without a chance is Duvan's stable companion, Min. Obviously, Ruby Walsh has opted to pick Duvan to ride, which tells a story in itself. However, Min is a very good horse in his own right, and it wouldn't surprise me if he ran a big race too. He started his campaign over 2 Mile 4 this season, with an eye of them maybe taking a step up in trip for the Ryanair, which is ran tomorrow. However, they soon changed plans and brought him back to 2 miles. He ran in Ireland next time, and he was disqualified, where he narrowly denied Simply Ned. However, in the steward's room, he was thrown out after interference on the run-in. Regardless of the result, Min did seem a little bit disappointing on the day. He travelled well, but he did seem a bit keen, and maybe that just took the edge off him. However, next time at the Dublin Festival, he reopposed Simply Ned and several other decent horses in the lineup, and Min was impressive that day. He did everything right. He travelled well. They switched him off, and he delivered his challenge 2 out, and he got the job done well. On all known form this season, Min is the horse that's had a good preparation. He's coming into a race in good form, and he certainly does have a solid each-way chance. However, on ability alone, you'd have to have Altior and Duvan above Min. It's a race with question marks. I wouldn't say I'm confident in selecting Altior, but he's just had that slightly better preparation than Duvan this year. Therefore, he is my selection for the Queen Mother Champion Chase. However, there's nobody more than me that love both Altior and Duvan to go head-to-head all the way to the line. I love both horses. Whichever one wins, I wouldn't begrudge any of them. They're both top-class horses, and it's just a race to savour. All race fans watching this race today are in for a treat. Glenfarclas Cross Country race this year is again a competitive renewal. It's a race I don't usually get involved with. It's not really my cup of tea, this race. In recent years, Ender Bulger's dominated the race. However, this year, the Gordon Elliott trained Cause of Causes heads the market, and his second string Tiger R was also prominent. I don't have a great opinion in this race. However, I would just go Cause of Causes over Tiger Roll, duly down to the soft ground, whereas I think Tiger Roll might struggle. Cause of Causes has won the race last year. He's got good Cheltenham Festival form. In fact, he's been out here on several occasions and has won at the festival. So he is a horses for courses horse for this race. So I think he is the horse to beat myself. But however, I'm not a big fan of this race. It's a race that seems to have brought up a lot of carnage in the past. There's been a lot of issues regarding horses running the wrong way or missing a rail. It's a race that's probably just one of those to watch, really, then get involved with. However, if I was to put my neck on the line, I'd go with Cause of Causes, probably just over Josie's Orders from the Ender Bulger stable. My tentative selection for the Fred Winter Juvenile Handicap Hurdle is the King of May from the Brian Ellerton stable. It's a potential improver who ran third last time out, and I think he's well handicapped horse. This is a race I've had some luck with in the past, with horses such as Sanctuaire and Diego de Charmel. However, for me, this year's renewal looks very competitive, and I'd probably advise punters just to go in steady on this one. My selections for this year's Champion Bumper, I have two selections. My first selection is from the Gordon Elliott stable with Davy Russell on board, Felix Desjeux. This is a horse that's won its last 3 starts. It's an improving horse. It's very rare for Chickenstown to send a horse to the Champion Bumper. However, I know Gordon Elliott holds this horse in high regards, and he thinks it could be a horse for next season. That is my first selection. My second selection in the race is the Willie Mullins trained Black Bow. This was a winner in Ireland at the Leopardstown meeting last time, beating another one of today's rivals, Rhinestone. The race was run on bottomless ground. The two horses pulled a long way clear of the third. I think it's the best form in the race. However, there are a lot of horses in here that can improve from one race to the next. So don't feel that you shouldn't be looking at horses further down the market. However, those are my two selections for the Champion Bumper. It's a race that's where the winner would you'd normally see him line up in one of next season's novice hurdles at the festival, or either the Supreme Novices Hurdle or the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. Those are my two selections for this race, and again, which is a highly competitive renewal. My nap for Wednesday, day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival, is Sam Crow in the first race, the 1:30, the Ballymore Novices Hurdle. As I mentioned previously, I'm on this horse. I've been on him from the beginning of the season. Connections hold him in massive regard. They're confident. They've been playing his chances down over the last few weeks, but if you look for his form, if you watch the videos, it's quite clear to see that the horse has massive talent. Here's my selection, my nap selection of day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival. My each way selection for day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival, funny enough, is in the Champion Bumper. My selection is the Gordon Elliott trained Felix Desjeux. He's a 7 or 8 to 1 chance currently. The reason I'm making him my each way selection is because Chickenstown very rarely send their horses to the Champion Bumper. Their prerogative is usually to save their horses rather than run them in a tough Championship Bumper at the Cheltenham Festival, where they'd usually save their horse for the following season. That's my each way selection for day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival. Thank you for listening to my selections for day 2 of the Cheltenham Festival. Hopefully I'll put you on a couple of winners. Thank you very much for your time, and goodbye. I will be back tomorrow.
Cracking stuff, Steve. Thank you, sir. And may I take this opportunity just to wish you good luck again for today, and hopefully we will have more of the same today. Right, quickly, my views on today's racing. Initially, I think it's a tough day today. Not really a day to get involved, unless you're involved really at big prices, or have been lucky enough to get some better prices about some of the more fancied horses today. Obviously, in the first race, we're all looking at Sam Crow. I personally just hope he does himself justice at the track. He's never raced at the track before. I hope he shows us over here in England just what a phenomenal horse he's looked in Ireland. So that's it really for the first race. 2:10. Mona Lee is of interest to me, and also Album Photo, because, as you all know, I watch a fair few Graham Wiley trained horses, and the favourite for the JLT tomorrow, invitation only, his form ties in quite nicely with Mona Lee. So hopefully we're looking for a big run from Mona Lee today, or Album Photo for that instance in the same race, to boost the chances ahead of a possible selection tomorrow. 250 the Coral Cup, fantastic race, one of the best races of the week for me. Fantastic betting heat. You're always guaranteed 8 or 10 to 1 the field. I've looked at 2 or 3 in there. Obviously, I did say that young James Bowen was great value for his claim in all these sort of races. And he is actually riding William Henry, a horse he has won on before in a competitive handicap. So for Nicky Henderson. So that obviously is of massive interest. Mount Muse, I think, is an interesting one. That's been dropped back from novice chasing this year, back into novice hurdling. So either they think his hurdle mark is fair, so I think owner Trevor Hemmings as well. He is very shrewd. It's been mentioned to me by other people that they see Mount Muse as more of a Grand National winner in the future. Obviously, with the owner Trevor Hemmings, and it goes back to why I selected Vintage Cloud yesterday. Mount Muse may turn out to be a Grand National horse in the future, who knows. But today, after running not far behind the Sun Alliance hope Black Corton last time out, he's actually dropped back down to hurdles, so I find that quite interesting. And the third one I find very interesting in this race is the Novice As You Were, trained by Alan Fleming and ridden by Dennis O'Regan. That also is because I watched another Graham Wiley horse, a novice hurdler called Bally Ward, win. And the key to that sentence there is novice hurdler. This race is not a novice race. So the fact that Alan Fleming, I think, has pitched As You Were into this race could be quite crucial. There's a conditional jockey's handicap hurdle tomorrow, but again, that's not for novices. There's not many novice handicap hurdles at the festival. So he is limited for opportunities if he doesn't think his horse is good enough to compete in one of the graded races. But it is in a handicap hurdle, and it's very unexposed, and it's a big price. Well, it was last time we looked, around 25 to 1. We haven't looked today, but that is a massive interest to me as well, because it's a shrewd yard, and I've had good results with them in the past. 3:30 Championship Chase, Queen Mother Champion Chase. I've got no views on it. I'm sure Steve has already covered Altior and Duvan. Should just be a fantastic spectacle, just to sit back and enjoy, really. Both horses very short. 4:10 Cross Country Chase. Well, my views on this race are it shouldn't even be at the festival. I think it lowers the tone. I don't like it, but on a personal level, I respect each and every one of those who do like it. Half of the jockeys, they don't know the way around half the time. They all need sat-navs to get round the track without going the wrong way. Saying that, it's a fairly useful Grand National trial. Cause of Causes won the race last year. He's back for more. Also, you've got Last Samurai and Tiger Roll. They're prominent Grand National entries. But for me, I am loath to bet on a single penny of any of my money on that race. And I have been all throughout the history of the race. It's It's a non-race for me. 450, impossible race for me to solve, I think. The Fred Winter Juvenile Hurdle, I think it is. I've got no opinion on the race whatsoever. It is impossible. Goes back to what we said yesterday, really. If you're picking the winner of these races on a regular basis, you're either the luckiest man on the earth or a complete genius. It really is a fine line between the two, I think, sometimes. I've actually wrote down Casa Tall just for the reason that I think it's a top weight, just for the reason that James Bowen's on it. I've got no other options for that race whatsoever. And unfortunately, the bumper is going to be short as well, 5:30. I don't really watch as much bumper racing as I'd like to these days. So as a result of that, I've got no opinion on the race whatsoever. I was looking at a Graham Wiley trained horse for this race, a horse called Stay Humble. But he actually rather flopped on his debut at odds on. So as a result, he hasn't made the field. So obviously, it's a good race to watch with a view to maybe next year's Supreme Novices Hurdle and all the other novice hurdle races last year. But from a proposition of actually making any money on the race, I've got no view on the race whatsoever. Well, good luck, everybody. Hopefully we will be back tomorrow with, we don't know the format of what we're going to do tomorrow yet. To be honest, at this time of recording this, I don't really know what the format is of today's show. So let's get today's out of the way first. Thank you very much for listening. Good luck, everybody, today. It's all about Sam Crow for me today. I just hope that he can show his form to the masses in England. He's an incredibly short betting proposition to me. Odds on. I would never take any odds on horse at the festival. It really is one that if we do fancy Sam Crow for next year, we really do need to be looking at taking Steve Allpress's advice after today's race and looking at trying to get onto the horse as soon as possible at much better prices than he's available at now. In the meantime, though, Sam Crow, good luck, sir. May the racing gods be with you. Go on, Sam Crow. Thank you for listening and all the best.